Close your eyes for a second and ask yourself one brutal question. If your life continued exactly the same way for the next 5 years, same habits, same routine, same excuses, would you be proud of where you end up, or would you feel ashamed that you saw it coming and still did nothing? Most people never ask this because the answer is uncomfortable. Life doesn't collapse loudly, it fades silently. Days repeat, months disappear, and one day you suddenly realize you've been busy surviving but never actually living. This video is not here to motivate you for 10 minutes and then disappear from your mind. It's here to disturb you, intellectually and emotionally. Not with fake hope, not with emotional stories, but with reality. The kind of reality that forces you to confront how time, comfort, fear, and delay quietly steal your future. No superstition, no destiny talk, no external blame, just clear, rational truth about how human beings waste their lives without even realizing it. If you're expecting quick hacks or magical transformation, this video is not for you. But if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of overthinking, tired of knowing you can do more but not doing it, then stay. Because once you truly understand how life gets wasted, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, going back to autopilot becomes impossible. How life gets wasted without you even noticing. Most people don't ruin their life in one dramatic moment. They don't wake up one day and decide, let me destroy everything. Life gets wasted quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. It happens in small, daily choices that feel harmless in the moment. Scrolling a little longer, postponing things again, convincing yourself that tomorrow will somehow be better without you doing anything different today. The real danger is not failure, not poverty, not even criticism. The real danger is drifting. When days start repeating themselves and you stop questioning where your time is actually going, that's when life starts leaking away without you noticing. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Time is the only resource you never get refunded. Money can be earned again. Skills can be rebuilt. Even health, sometimes, can be recovered. But every single hour you waste is gone permanently. Science doesn't care about your excuses, your comfort zone, or your emotional stories. Biology is ruthless. The clock keeps moving forward whether you are improving or decaying. And the scary part is this. Your brain is extremely good at lying to you. It will normalize stagnation. It will make mediocrity feel safe. It will convince you that doing nothing is a valid long-term strategy. Spoiler alert, it's not. Most people think wasting life means doing bad things. That's childish thinking. The real-life wasters are neutral-looking habits. Endless consumption with zero creation. Passive entertainment replacing active effort. Waiting for motivation instead of building discipline. You don't need to be addicted to drugs to waste your life. You just need to be addicted to comfort. Comfort is socially accepted, so nobody warns you about it. No one tells you that excessive comfort slowly kills ambition, curiosity, and self-respect. You feel relaxed, but deep down, you also feel empty, and that emptiness grows year after year. If this topic triggers you, that's actually a good sign. It means somewhere inside, you already know you're capable of more. Humans are wired for growth. When growth stops, dissatisfaction starts. That's not philosophy, that's psychology. When your actions don't align with your potential, your mind punishes you with anxiety, overthinking, and self-doubt. People then blame society, fate, luck, or the system. But the root problem is usually simple. They stopped taking ownership of their time and decisions. This video is not about motivation. Motivation is temporary and overrated. This is about clarity, about seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. If you're alive, conscious, and capable of learning, then you already have enough to start fixing your life. But first, you need to brutally understand how life actually gets wasted, because you can't correct a problem you refuse to see. In the next parts, we'll break down the biggest traps that silently steal your years, your energy, and your future, without drama, without superstition, and without fake positivity. The time illusion. Why people think they have forever. One of the biggest reasons people waste their life is because they treat time like it's unlimited. When you're young, tomorrow feels guaranteed. Next year feels close. 10 years feels imaginary. Your brain literally cannot emotionally process long-term loss, so it keeps trading future pain for present comfort. This is not a moral failure, it's a cognitive bias. Neuroscience calls it present bias, the tendency to overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue long-term consequences. In simple words, your brain is wired to sabotage your future if you don't consciously control it. Look at how most days are spent. Hours disappear into phones, random videos, pointless debates, gossip, and mental noise. None of this feels bad, so it doesn't trigger guilt. That's exactly why it's dangerous. If you were doing something clearly destructive, at least alarms would go off in your head. But mindless scrolling is silent. It drains your attention span, fragments your focus, and leaves you mentally tired without producing anything valuable. You end the day exhausted but empty, busy but unfulfilled. That's not productivity, that's cognitive pollution. Another trap is waiting for the right time. People delay action until conditions are perfect. More money, more confidence, more clarity, more approval. This is pure illusion. There is no perfect moment in real life. Every meaningful thing you ever do will start with confusion, fear, and incomplete information. Waiting doesn't make you smarter, it just makes you older. The brutal math is simple: every year you wait, competition increases, energy decreases, and responsibilities multiply. Time doesn't pause to reward patience. It moves on and replaces you with someone who started earlier. Then there's the addiction to opinions. People spend years consuming advice instead of applying it. Podcasts, books, reels, threads, endless information with zero execution. Knowledge without action is not intelligence, it's entertainment. Your brain gets a dopamine hit just by learning something new, even if you never use it. That's why people feel productive while doing nothing. They confuse stimulation with progress. Real growth is boring, repetitive, and uncomfortable. It doesn't look aesthetic. It doesn't give instant validation. And that's exactly why most people avoid it. The most tragic part? Wasted potential hurts more than failure. Failing at something teaches you something. Wasting time teaches you nothing, except regret. Years later, when reality finally hits, people don't cry about risks they took. They cry about chances they never tried. The brain remembers missed opportunities way more vividly than past failures. That's not motivation talk, that's regret psychology. If any of this feels uncomfortably accurate, good. Awareness is the first crack in the wall. In the next part, we'll talk about one of the most underrated life wasters of this generation: the illusion of being busy while moving nowhere. The trap of fake busyness. One of the most dangerous lies modern life tells you is this: as long as you're busy, you're progressing. That's complete nonsense. Busyness and progress are not the same thing, and confusing them is how people lose entire decades. You can be busy all day, replying to messages, attending pointless meetings, consuming content, arguing online, planning endlessly, and still move exactly 0 steps forward. Fake busyness feels productive, looks respectable, and gets social approval, which is why it's so seductive. But deep down, you know the truth. At the end of the day, you ask yourself, what did I actually build today? And the answer is silence. Your brain loves fake busyness because it avoids discomfort. Real progress demands focus, isolation, repetition, and boredom. Fake busyness gives you constant stimulation without demanding real effort. Checking notifications feels like action. Talking about goals feels like movement. Preparing forever feels like work. But none of these change your skill level, income, discipline, or mindset in any meaningful way. You're just burning mental energy to feel occupied. It's like running on a treadmill and thinking you're traveling somewhere: lots of effort, 0 distance. Another reason fake busyness thrives is social comparison. Everyone around you looks busy, stressed, and overwhelmed, so you assume that's what success looks like. But stress is not a badge of honor. Being overwhelmed doesn't mean you're important. It usually means you lack clarity and priority. High performers are not chaotic, they're precise. They do fewer things, but they do them deeply. People who waste their life often do too many shallow things and master nothing. Depth beats speed. Focus beats hustle. Always. The brutal reality is this: if your daily actions don't compound, they're wasting your life. Compounding actions are boring in the short term but powerful in the long term. Learning a skill daily, improving your thinking, building something consistently. Fake busyness gives instant exhaustion with no long-term payoff. And exhaustion without progress is one of the fastest ways to lose confidence in yourself. You start feeling tired of life itself, not because life is hard, but because you're misusing your energy. The moment you stop measuring your day by how busy you were and start measuring it by what actually moved you forward, everything changes. In the next part, we'll expose another silent killer of potential: living life on autopilot and letting habits decide your future instead of conscious choices. Living on autopilot. Most people don't consciously choose their life, they inherit it. Their routines, habits, beliefs, even their goals are copied from parents, friends, society, or random influencers. Once a routine is set, the brain switches to autopilot because it saves energy. Neuroscience proves this. Habits reduce cognitive load. But what saves energy can also destroy your future if the habit is wrong. Living on autopilot means your past decisions keep controlling your present, even when they no longer make sense. Autopilot feels comfortable because it removes responsibility. You wake up, do what you did yesterday, react the same way, consume the same content, complain about the same problems, and go to sleep. No deep thinking, no questioning, no friction. Days blur into weeks, weeks into years. And then one day, reality hits hard. You're older, but not wiser, experienced, but not evolved. That shock is what people call a midlife crisis, but it's actually delayed awareness. Habits don't care about your dreams. They only care about repetition. If your daily habits don't align with where you want to go, they will silently drag you in the opposite direction. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That's not motivational talk, that's behavioral science. Your brain will always choose the familiar over the meaningful unless you consciously interrupt it. The most dangerous part of autopilot is that it numbs urgency. You stop feeling the pressure of time passing. Birthdays become routine. Years stop feeling significant. When urgency dies, ambition dies with it. You start telling yourself stories like, "I still have time," or "I'll figure it out later." Later becomes never. Life doesn't end suddenly for most people. It slowly fades into repetition. Breaking autopilot requires awareness before action. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need intentional friction, small, conscious changes that force you to think again. Questioning your routines, redesigning your environment, choosing discomfort on purpose. In the next part, we'll talk about another massive life waster that hides behind positivity and patience: the habit of waiting for confidence instead of acting first. Waiting for confidence is a psychological trap. A lot of people think they'll start taking life seriously once they feel ready. More confidence, more clarity, more motivation. This idea sounds logical, but it's scientifically backward. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action, it's a byproduct of action. The brain builds confidence only after it sees evidence that you can survive discomfort. If you keep waiting to feel confident before acting, you'll stay stuck forever. That's not a mindset issue. That's how learning and adaptation actually work. Your nervous system is designed to protect you, not to make you successful. Anything unfamiliar triggers fear because, historically, unfamiliar meant danger. Modern life hasn't updated that system. So when you think about starting something new, learning a skill, speaking publicly, changing your path, your brain sends resistance signals. People misinterpret those signals as a sign that they're not ready. In reality, it's a sign that you're about to grow. Avoiding that feeling trains your brain to associate safety with stagnation. Another illusion is believing that confident people are fearless. They're not. They've just trained themselves to act despite fear. Confidence is basically accumulated proof. I've been uncomfortable before, and I didn't die. That's it. Every time you avoid action, you reinforce self-doubt. Every time you act imperfectly, you weaken it. There is no neutral zone. You're either training courage or training avoidance. This is why overplanning is so popular. Planning feels like progress without risk. You can plan for years and never fail, because you never try. But planning without execution slowly kills self-trust. Deep down, you know you're capable of more, and that internal conflict creates frustration, anxiety, and sometimes even depression. The mind hates inconsistency between potential and behavior. If you want to stop wasting your life, you have to flip the sequence. Act first, confidence later. Start small, start messy, start scared, but start. In the next part, we'll expose another modern disease that steals ambition and time: the addiction to comfort and instant gratification. Comfort is the silent killer of great lives. No one tells you this directly, but comfort is dangerous. Not extreme comfort, daily, casual comfort. The kind that feels harmless. Soft routines, easy entertainment, food on demand, distraction everywhere. Evolutionarily, humans are wired to seek comfort because it once meant survival. In the modern world, comfort means stagnation. When life becomes too easy, your growth systems shut down. Muscles weaken without resistance. The mind dulls without challenge. Ambition fades when nothing demands effort. Instant gratification is comfort's best weapon. Social media, short videos, fast food, quick validation. Your brain gets pleasure without effort. Dopamine spikes without meaning. Over time, this rewires your reward system. Hard work starts feeling unbearable. Focus feels painful. Patience feels outdated. You don't lose discipline overnight, you lose tolerance for boredom. And boredom is where real progress lives. Every skill, every breakthrough, every transformation requires long periods of unglamorous repetition. Comfort also distorts your sense of struggle. You start calling minor inconvenience stress. A little discomfort feels like suffering. So you avoid anything that might stretch you: difficult conversations, challenging goals, deep focus. But struggle is not the enemy. Meaningless struggle is. Purposeful struggle is what gives life depth. When you remove struggle completely, you don't get happiness, you get emptiness. The scariest part is that comfort disguises itself as self-care. Rest is necessary, yes, but constant escape is not rest. Rest prepares you to work again. Escape replaces work. When escape becomes your default response to difficulty, life slowly collapses inward. You stop expanding, you start shrinking. And years later, you wonder why you feel behind, even though you were always taking it easy. To stop wasting your life, you must reintroduce voluntary discomfort. Not chaos, discipline. Choosing effort even when comfort is available. In the next part, we'll talk about how fear of judgment and social pressure keep people small, obedient, and stuck. Fear of judgment keeps you small. One of the most underrated reasons people waste their life is fear of being judged. Not real danger, not real consequences, just opinions. Humans are social animals, so rejection once meant death. That ancient wiring is still active, even though today a comment, a laugh, or disapproval won't actually harm you. But your brain reacts as if it will. So you stay quiet, you play safe, you choose what's acceptable over what's meaningful. And slowly, your life becomes a performance instead of a personal mission. The irony is brutal. People you're afraid of judging you are usually too busy worrying about themselves. Yet this fear controls career choices, self-expression, and risk-taking. People abandon ideas not because they're bad, but because they might look foolish trying. They wait until they're perfect before showing up, which means they never show up at all. Society doesn't reward hidden potential, it rewards visible effort. Social approval is a short-term drug with long-term consequences. When you let external validation dictate your decisions, you hand over control of your life to random minds. Trends change. Opinions flip. What's praised today is mocked tomorrow. If your identity depends on approval, you'll keep reshaping yourself until nothing authentic remains. That's not growth, that's erosion. The most dangerous judgment is not from others, it's self-judgment reinforced by others. You internalize expectations and start censoring yourself automatically. You don't even need critics anymore, you become your own jailer. And that's how people waste years without anyone actively stopping them. Freedom begins when you accept a simple truth: judgment is unavoidable. You can be criticized for trying, and you can be criticized for doing nothing. One leads to growth, the other to regret. In the next part, we'll talk about a mistake that sounds wise but destroys momentum: overthinking life instead of living it. Overthinking is procrastination in disguise. A lot of people believe they are deep thinkers, planners, or perfectionists. In reality, they're just avoiding action in a socially acceptable way. Overthinking feels intelligent, but most of the time it's fear wearing a suit. You analyze every possibility, every outcome, every risk, not to make a better decision, but to delay making one at all. Your brain keeps you stuck in thought loops because thinking feels safer than acting. The problem is simple. Life is not solved in the head, it's solved in reality. No amount of thinking will replace real-world feedback. You can't think your way into clarity, you act your way into it. Clarity comes after movement, not before. When you overthink, you demand certainty from a world that only offers probabilities. That demand paralyzes you. You wait for a guarantee that will never arrive. Overthinking also drains energy. Decision fatigue builds up. Small choices start feeling heavy. You become mentally exhausted without doing anything meaningful. This leads to a dangerous cycle. Low action creates low confidence, which increases overthinking, which further reduces action. Over time, people start believing they're not made for success, or not built for pressure, when the real issue is they never trained decisiveness. The harsh truth is this: imperfect action beats perfect intention every time. Life rewards speed of learning, not speed of thinking. Mistakes made early are cheaper and more useful than perfect plans made late. Overthinkers don't fail fast, they fail slowly, quietly, and invisibly. To stop wasting your life, you must shorten the gap between thought and action. Decide faster, learn faster, move faster. In the next part, we'll confront the final and most dangerous illusion: the belief that you'll someday have enough time. The lie of, "I still have time. I still have time," is one of the most comforting lies the human brain tells itself. It sounds calm, mature, and patient, but in reality, it's often just delayed responsibility. Time feels abundant when you measure it in years, but brutally limited when you measure it in actions. You don't run out of years first. You run out of chances to start early, to compound effort, to make small mistakes that teach big lessons. Life doesn't warn you before chapters close. Energy changes. Priorities shift. Responsibilities multiply. What feels easy to start today will feel heavier later, not impossible, but costlier. People underestimate how fast momentum decays. Starting late means fighting not just the challenge itself, but also regret, comparison, and self-doubt that accumulate over time. That mental baggage is real, and it's heavy. Another illusion is believing that awareness equals progress. Knowing that time is limited doesn't automatically change behavior. Many people intellectually understand this, yet emotionally live as if they're immortal. Days slip by because nothing forces urgency. That's why external deadlines work, but self-created urgency is even more powerful. When you don't set stakes, life sets them for you, often harshly. The cruel irony is that most people realize time was precious only after wasting a large portion of it. They look back and say, "If I had started then." But regret has no reverse button. The only leverage point is now. Not tomorrow, not next month, now. This moment is the youngest you will ever be again.